Hello, hello. This is Mirior here with another game of Poxnora, playing my lava deck against CaueMTG, who's playing full faction Forglar Swamps. We'll see what sort of deck it is. Alright. I'm going to open off with a Deep Elf Ritualist, going for the top font. Not the ideal first turn champion, but I've got a nice selection of champions to draw from here. I don't really want to mulligan and risk getting something worse. And the Ritualist is usually not a bad deploy. Very cheap, cheapest champion I'm running. Alright, my opponent's opened with Circadian Merchant, which helps me feel better about the Ritualist. That's a pretty support champ, as is the Ritualist. So neither of us are putting heavy pressure on the top font, on the middle font, right away. Then for my second champ, I want to get a 7-speed champ to go for this side font. This map generally goes better when I can get my whatever champ I sent down here back into the action as quickly as possible. Between the two, I'm gonna go for the heavier investment. I'm gonna go for a Bunny Lord. Bunny Lord's a new addition to this deck since the last video. Got buffed in the recent balance patch. I think Lava Storm was added then, or at least moved. Abilities moved around to make it easier to grab. I think it was just straight up added to upgrades, which makes it a fantastic fit for this deck. Also got Domain Lava, Flame Armor is a good ability that I think was also added. Then a variety of deep choices. I've gone with Glorious Sleep because when it's useful, it's very useful. Alright, my opponent's running looks like either a Mire Folk deck or an Equipped deck, or both. Actually, definitely an equipped deck. You got Market and Aquatic Armaments going on here. Yep, this is an equipped deck. We've got Salaman Hunter coming down. Which likely is a Salaman deck. We will see how that goes. Go ahead and get my War Banner down. Hunter can be an intimidating champion. Hunter's Blind, if it gets set up for Hunter's Blind, that's a significant threat. 12 damage at 8 range and stealth, so making me have to travel all those spaces to get to it, or drop an AoE. I can knock it out of Hunter's Blind pretty easily with Flame Strike, once I have units down that can do Flame Strike. Hunter's Blind also makes it vulnerable to lava. I can just drop lava on it. And it is a very squishy champion. Not a huge threat, but a good for 70 Nora. Alright. Over here we have a Tide Master, who is range champ. Tidal Wave, something to be aware of. Make sure I don't bust my champs up too much. Every champ my opponent dropped so far is ranged, which is something that I can punish. I'm going to try to punish. But we'll see how well that works. I am running one copy of Demon Shield. Not every champ I'm running is a demon, but I think the majority of them are. The Bunny Lord is not, unfortunately. Bunny Lord is a heavy investment. Would love to make it immune to ranged attacks. But also, understand that would be a bit unreasonable for my opponent to deal with. Alright. Speaking of things to deal with, I'm going to go aggressive to Ritualist. Not because she can win this 2v1 fight, not by any means. But with Afflict, I'm confident she can at least get this Merchant killed. And the Merchant, I want to get rid of Aquatic Armaments as quickly as possible. Then for a follow-up, I have a choice of runes depending on what I want to emphasize. Firestarter is a good way to get Flame Burst out. Good for knocking the Hunter out of position, but it's also 6-speed melee, not the best for dealing with heavy ranged. So I'm going to go more expensive. I'm going to go with a Centipede. 7-speed. Defiant's not really helpful. The only one that's a physical attacker is the Hunter, but 7-speed, semi-range attack, can go full range when he's sitting on lava. Alright. The Merchant is pretty pinned down here. Probably looking at what your abilities are. Okay, you ground the things, that's not a threat to me. I'm not running anything with, or I'm only running one thing with flying. Flying's done. Toss equipment and ruin. So need to be aware of relics are not very helpful while this merchant is live, which is fine. I'm not a very relic heavy group anyways, other than War Banner. I've also got a cauldron for negating immunities, but don't play it very often. And so far I haven't run into anything that would make me want to have a cauldron. Fish Catcher might be something like that if it was still running if it still had Tough, but I see Tough is either an upgrade that wasn't picked or it's been removed. Resist Physical 3 is not much of a pain for this deck. Is a pain for the Bunny Lord, but that is... Bunny Lord has plenty of ways to get non-physical attacks down. Alright. And... move up here. That is still outside of your double tap range. Did attack into the... You have Psychotic Break, not Manic, that's why you didn't move. Okay. Did attack into the Afflict, which is probably a mistake. 9 damage on Ritualist, 8 damage on your own champ. Another hit gets you down to 12. Now you are 1 hit away. I could use a spell to finish it, but I don't think that's good. That won't be very efficient at the moment. I want to get another champ down. And that is going to be... it's either Support Champ or Puppet Master. And I think I'm leaning Puppet Master. I've got enough sources of potential lava to make the combination of Puppet Master and lava be a quick kill. And I think that's how I want to be able to deal with this Fish Kisser, who has a lot of useful abilities. You going to be in range to charge me on your turn? Not quite. Because you have Ponderous, and so... okay. So you're only in danger from a double tap from the Tide Master, which I'm fine with, because that will kill the merchant as well, and I'll survive it. So I do want to keep the merchant engaged. I'll end the turn there. So you may notice looking at the ranks over here, my rank is lower than it's usually been in videos. I've been continuing to test the Death Bomb ability. It's continued to be... I've gotten it better than it was... it's put up better showings than it did in that first video, but still not hugely strong. And my opponent is also lower ranked. We'll see if this is a good game that's worth uploading. Meanwhile, so Crushing Charge gets the disengage off. Leaves my Ritualist back here, slightly out of position. And there's the Merchant running away with 1 health. But running away back into range of Semi-Aquatic. And there's a Hunter's Blind going off. Got some choices to make here. Crushing Charge did move me out of range for a double tap, which I'm fine with, but granted, my opponent also doesn't want to attack me anymore because that will kill the merchant. Instead, we have a Tidal Wave on the Bunny Lord. Is this going to be followed up with a Drown? It could be. Leap over the chasm. Again, spell presence range. Be heavy investment to get rid of the Bunny Lord, but would definitely make my position weaker. Right now, I'm in a decently strong position. Alright, there's a champ coming down. Swamp Thing. Leech Vitality is your main thing. Another Tidal Wave source. And Slowing Armor. That's something to be aware of. Okay, I am fine with that though. We are going to play this aggressively. With a Glorious Leap into the middle here. And start hitting the Tide Master. Over here, may have forgotten which spot the Salaman Hunter was on. I think it was this spot. Let's find out. Yes, perfect. You're pinned down there. You can move up. You've got 1 hit point. I am going to drop another champ here. Now we get the support champion out. And as for you, what do I want to do with you? One option would be to go aggressively, which would be here. Force you to leap away, which you cannot get to the side bond. Okay, make sure of that. Also down to 8 speed. Another option, I still have Afflicting up. I can bait. I am going to move more aggressively to here, I think. Yes. Alright. I am leaving this champ on 1 hit point, which is not the best plan. Foreground Swamps does have good ways to heal that. But I'm also putting a lot of pressure on this side font. I've got 2 champs here now. Ritualist will be back to full speed next turn. Tidemaster has to leap away. And then the Swamp Thing. I'll deal with the Swamp Thing as it comes. Alright, meanwhile I got Puppet Master in the font. Fish Kisser can't really get to it. I don't have a way to create well, I have one way to create lava. So there's the Tidemaster backing away. Swamp Thing can get a tidal wave off on both of them. But in hindsight, probably could have moved Ritualist like... Well, no, there isn't really anywhere to move it. That would be, oh, maybe up here? Up here probably would have been the ideal spot. So that way I'm threatening finishing off the merchant. Alright, let's see what my opponent's got. Land Cannon coming down. Hitting the Ritualist is not an attack, it's just doing damage, so it does not trigger Reflect. Merchant is still alive. And there's a Tidal Wave, which I don't think... That does trigger Reflect, perfect. Also gives the Swamp Thing plenty of hit points. But I am still got 10 hit points. Which means you are a perfect target for a Retribution on my turn. That's 32 damage. I don't think I can kill the Swamp Thing even with Retribution. But... let's see, your range is 3 to 6. Meanwhile, what are you doing with the Fish Kisser? If you leave it full of action points, I will absolutely run in and kill it with lava. I am... currently out. I can just give it a Puppet Master here. Okay, yes. Yep, this is going to work. So, move here. Give you an action potion. You move up here. Drink the action potion. Give those action points to you. You put up a flame charge. And... alright. You are going to go here. Put up lava. And I believe that gives you an attack on the Hunter as well. 1 point short of a kill there. It's slightly frustrating. Do I have... I don't have the 7 damage spell. That's okay. I am going to get the kill on this Fish Kisser. This gives me mid-font. Over here, I'm just going to drop lava on everything. Retribution you. I'd love to be able to finish off the Tidemaster with that ret kill, but instead I'm just going to get the heavy damage there. Oh, if I'd done that first, I could have gotten the Vengeful proc. Oh well. Then can I get inside this thing's range? No, I cannot. So instead, I'm just going to put up Flame Armor and call it a day. No, I'm going to get some shielding up in case of any CC. This game is pretty solidly, I think, won at this point. Both of these champs are vulnerable to being swarmed on my next turn unless he can get the kill, which he might be able to actually, even through the 6th defense, maybe. Have to use a spell. This is going to go through defense, that's still 10 damage, solidly. But then that's through the defense, that is 5 and 3. So that leaves him 14 hit points. Definitely in spell kill range. Did not quite get the Salaman Hunter here. Did not think about Vengeful as a way to get extra damage. But I'm still in lava. I'll have a range attack next turn. I have the pseudo range if not. It means I take the 16 damage hit that I didn't need to take, but you don't have a way of getting out. And meanwhile, why do I not have this? There's a poison trap in here. That was a defense mechanism. And it didn't quite work out. Well, I can trigger that on my turn. Have the Imp Alchemist trigger that. Alright, you're running 2 attacks, but I think you're still going to be... Wow, how are you... What's giving you... Oh, motivation and encouraged. Ah, that's what's giving you extra damage. Okay, still 3 points short, and you spent heavy investment on Karch there. Don't think you quite have the kill. Can I kill both of them? And my opponent's disconnected. Which is likely a realization going to be 1 point short of that kill, or 3 hit points short of that kill, and has closed the game. So, I'll wrap up this video here. Lava Deck has done its thing again. Hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I will see you next time.